Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of my Apex Online Racing League here today, and this one is for round number 4 of the season for the Austrian Grand Prix. Once again, a reminder, this isn't the usual round 4, but it is a shortened calendar for this season of 10 races, so we're now here for the Austrian Grand Prix. I wasn't here for the last race for the Chinese Grand Prix. I didn't actually attend the race because I wasn't available, so if you guys did miss the last actual race I was at, which was the Bahrain Grand Prix, you can check out the race, guys, by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. But like I said, today we are here for AOR round 4 of season 17 on the F2 split on PC for the Austrian Grand Prix. The tyre compounds are on screen as follows, with the ultras all the way up to the softs, and then of course the two usual wet compounds. And the track is a very interesting one because there's only 10 corners, therefore there's a lot of room for errors, and the errors can be costly because one small mistake here will end up costing you dearly. And also in terms of a lap time in itself, you know, the finesse needs to be absolutely spot on around here for a qualifying lap especially, and I think the grid could be very, very close. With that being said though, it is Austria. It's one of my preferred tracks in the calendar. I don't love it, but you know, it's definitely not my worst one, and I'm curious to see how we stack up against the pack. Based off of practice, I felt relatively confident with my race pace, and I think it could be quite good for us, but it kind of depends on how qualifying goes. So without further ado, let's jump into qualifying first of all, and let's see how things shake down for the qualifying report. So jumping into the Saturday qualifying session here at the Red Bull Ring. Sunny conditions, no rain expected this weekend, which is very good indeed. So it's going to be a pretty simple, straightforward weekend in terms of strategy for the dry. And we're going to hit the track on the slowest tyres, the actual soft compound. I selected the harder of the compounds available this weekend. Most people went for the ultras. I'm going to try and see if I can qualify on the super soft and try and make the one stop a super soft onto the soft tyre and make it a very straightforward one stop strategy. But first of all, we're going to set a couple of bankers on the soft just to get a feel for the track and also shake down the car, see how things are going. And I went for 2 time laps on the soft tyre. I had enough fuel for 2 laps and also enough ERS. So as you can see, my first lap currently P11, nothing spectacular as we now come across through the final couple of corners here on my second attempt, and we're up by quite some margin here as we now go through the final corner, open up with DRS, the soft tyres now up to temperature, and we jump up to P10. Not much of an improvement, but still a good improvement on the softs, and once again getting that data and that knowledge of seeing where the track is. Now eventually we switched to the super softs, and for the super softs, the same as the soft tyre, my strategy was simple. I'm going to go for 1 time lap, but I went for 2 warm-up laps. So I literally just crossed the line now on my first one, and I'm now starting my second out lap, or my second warm-up lap, so to speak. And now we're going to cross the line here to start my actual time lap here at the Red Bull Ring. So let's run on board and let's see how the lap goes. Straight away, towards turn 1, you're looking for the black box up the top of the screen on the left-hand side as a reference. Into turn 1, attack the apex, let the car run wide on the power, and to be fair, pretty conservative turn 1. I could have carried a lot more speed through there, but still we are up nonetheless as we now race up the hill towards turn number 3, braking just after the 100 meter board, down to second gear, pick up your apex, and I'm actually using first gear to rotate the car. Again, a little bit too conservative, I'm playing a little bit too safe, and I'm only up by a tenth and a half, not really improving that much as we now go down towards turn number 4, braking once again just after the 100 meter board, using third gear, and a little tap at the inside curb to rotate the car there, and a good lock up for a good measure as we now go through the flat out right hander here as we now come towards the end of sector number 2, these double left handers, which are very, very tricky here because you've got to be careful to not run too wide, otherwise you're going to get to the marbles and ruin your entire lap. Pretty good job they keep it nice and clean, and again a little bit conservative, not really pushing the limits too much as we now go into the 2 final corners, going down 2 gears for the penultimate corner here, attacking the curbs, letting the car run out wide one more time for the final corner. I run a little bit wide and miss my apex, and the back end kind of gets away from me a little bit there. I definitely lost about a tenth of a second in that final corner alone, but generally speaking an okay lap. We go P10 on the super softs, and to be honest with you, I think the lap in itself wasn't the best one. I reckon there was 2 tenths in that lap. I think, you know, we took a little bit too conservative over the entire lap, and that final corner was a little bit messy as we lost the back end. So I reckon a 0.7 could have been possible, and we could have definitely maybe got 6th or 7th. I think 8th could have been possible. I think that could have been realistically possible on the super soft, but in the end actually it's not all doom and gloom because we got pushed out to P11. Therefore we are going to have the free choice tyre for the race tomorrow, so it's actually worked out okay, and we are the best, or the second best should I say, of the super soft runners. Serdai in the Mercedes putting in a ridiculous lap there on the superstars. Fair play to him, what an incredible lap that was. But qualifying very, very close there. i7 Suisse with the unexpected pole position in qualifying there. Very good job from him. He set that lap right at the start of the session and no one was able to beat him, so fair play. Practice paying off. Then Martin G, in second place. Then we've got Raulgon, who is a new reserve driver for the league, who used to race in the top tier in F1 last season. He's currently P3. Coldo, my teammate, P4. He's won the last 2 races, and I won the first one. So currently McLaren have won every single race this season in AOR. Then further down, we do have some idiot in the Force India, and then closely followed by Zerd in the first of the Williams. And then further down, we have Serdar, of course, who we mentioned on the Super Softs, and Lemon alongside him. And then we have Julian and THM bringing out the top 10. And we get P11. We've got Raven alongside us in the Haas there on the 6th row. And then also we've got Workman, who's an extra reserve, along with Smeege in the other Ferrari there. But that's going to be it, guys, for the grid here at qualifying. And we're now going to move on to the race on Sunday for round number 4 for the Austrian Grand Prix. Let's jump into it. Okay, so here we are then on race day for Sunday, and looking first of all at the race strategy as the formation lap gets underway. You can see we're going to go for a different one here. It wasn't something that was planned. I wanted to originally qualify on the Super Softs, and I could have started on the Super Softs, to be honest with you, but I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm going to start the race on the soft compound tyres, and then try and be faster at the end with the Super Softs, and try and go on a bit of a late race charge. Fuel wise, we're running pretty heavy on fuel. I'm going to try and be aggressive this race and try and see if we can, make a charge towards the second half of the Grand Prix. So let's see how that goes as we now cut on towards the grid and line up on the grid in our P11 grid start. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we could try and convert this position into a better finishing result and try and score some decent points. I didn't score points in Bahrain. I missed the last race in China, so the only points in my name are the ones in Australia. So here we go. The pressure's on. The 5 red lights are on here at Austria, and it's going to be lights out and away we go for round 4 of the season. It's a pretty poor start off of the line as Raven and also Workman in the Renault get a great start. We have to go around the outside at the first corner to be careful with the contact, taking it very cautiously here at the first bend, and Raven getting a great start, getting the move on me straight away, and he's also opted for the soft compound tyres, as has Smeege and also Chrysix in the Red Bull behind us. So there's 4 cars that I know of on the soft compound tyres. We hit Raven there, very lucky to not lose an end plate under braking, and then kind of stuck on the curb. I couldn't really get the power down, and I couldn't go around the outside of the Haas driver just yet as we sit in P12 here, and so far so good. Luckily, I'm very, very thankful I kept my front wing in one piece. I didn't even pick up any minor damage, which was good news, because otherwise I would have absolutely ruined my race, because I don't have any more soft tyres to go on. So luckily we keep our car in one piece and we continue on as if nothing happened, and we just lost the 1 position on the opening lap as we now skip on towards lap number 2 here. A couple of corners later, Raven trying to challenge THM there in the ultra soft running Ferrari, and it actually runs a little bit wider, which puts Raven on the back of him once again as we race up towards turn number 2 and then into turn number 3 at the actual hairpin in itself. And I'm just watching from a distance here, waiting to see if I can make a move, and that was kind of my strategy this entire race, especially in this first stint here on the soft tyres. I was waiting to see if people around me would try and go for moves and maybe make a mistake or get it wrong, and then I would try and cash in and make a move. And speaking of making a move here, we've got the run on Raven here. We go down the inside, but he's very late on the brakes, and he just about keeps his car in front. Good defensive driving there from the American driver, and he places his car beautifully there on the apex, and I can't get past just yet as we now skip on towards the end of the lap. And Raven again getting wide there at turn 9, and going through turn 10. We get a good run here onto the pit straight, but once again I'm not going to commit to any rash moves, especially because DRS isn't enabled just yet, as we set a personal best going on to lap 3, and now we're going to have DRS, and now we're going to get a chance to make a move here. Raven once again wide through turn 1, but he does have DRS from THM in front, so can we try and get a tow here off of the Haas? We're racing up towards turn 3. We have got the run here, but we are a bit far back, and Raven actually very good on the brakes into the hairpin, and fair play to him. I was a little bit too conservative once again there into the brake zone, but now cutting on to lap 7, and those on the ultra softs are all on the same straight as us in front of us, and the fact that their tyres are starting to wear out is causing carnage, and you can see there's literally like 3 wide here up ahead. As we up into the hairpin, we have to get on the brakes very early, which allows Workman in the Renault to go along around the outside and actually gets the move done beautifully there and catches me off guard. I was kind of boxed in and I had nowhere to go, so I couldn't really defend my position that much, to be honest, and Workman there very opportunistic and making a great move on me there as he looks for a move around the outside of Raven into turn 4, but no way through just yet. And literally look at the mini map, everybody's literally so close here, and at the minute, our soft tire runners, we're right in this race, Raven, myself, Smeege, and also Chrysix behind Smeege. We're all looking good on this soft tyre so far, considering the time deficit with the ultra softs. But as you can see now, Workman still in front of us here on lap 7 as we now go into turn 9, and Workman gets it all wrong, gets a terrible line, cuts the corner, and then into turn 10 he hits the sausage curb, which sends him wide, and we're going to capitalise and get the re-overtake on the Haas, and also Smeege is going to follow through with the DRS and try and make the overtake there on the Renault as we retake P12. and we get back past the super soft running Renault, and back to the regular order behind Raven. And speaking of which, Raven here challenging, as you can see, the Red Bull in front of us here of Raulgon on lap number 9. Raulgon, who qualified P3, struggling at the minute in his car on lap 9 on the ultra soft tyres, and Raven goes for the lunge down the inside. He thinks better of it, and I have to stay wide and lock up and run a little bit deep on the brakes there, otherwise I could have hit the back of him quite easily as he came back onto the racing line a little bit, but luckily no harm done there as we now race on towards turn number 4. Raven again getting the run on the Red Bull, and he absolutely sends it down the inside with the lockup included, and he's actually going to get the move done beautifully on the Red Bull there. And now we're all over the back of Raulgon here, the reserve driver for this race. And can we try and follow Raven? It's important to not lose contact with him and try and stay with him, because obviously he's on the same strategy as us, so in terms of net positions he's going to be in front of us. But Raulgon runs wide again, and this is going to give me the opening that I need to make the move as we pull alongside the Red Bull, and we're going to have the inside line for turn number 9 here, down the inside of the Red Bull, keeping it nice and clean. And a very nice simple move there as Raulgon backs out and doesn't defend the position going into the corner. And now all the way onto lap 10, literally 1 lap later, and we've got Raven now challenging the first of the Force Indias as we pick up our first track extension of the Grand Prix. Raven currently behind Julian, the man that obviously got second in Australia and challenged me for the race win. So as you can see, Raven making good progress here, and Smij as well also got past Raulgon behind us. So we're all kind of following each other here, making these overtakes on the ultra soft runners who are starting to really struggle on their tyres. And Raven again here getting the run on Julian as we race up towards turn 3. Goes for the move down the inside, absolutely sends it, and once again a very nice late braking move from the American. And to be fair, Julian holds it around the outside even on those worn ultras, and Raven has to try again as he gets back into the slipstream, and has a second stab of DRS down towards turn number 4. Does he get it this time? Yes, he does. He goes for a dummy and does actually pull it off. Very nice move there from Raven. He kind of went for a double bait and switch and pulled it off. And now we're going to try and get past Julian if possible here as we now go towards the end of sector 2 and into sector 3. Look how many cars we've got in front of us here as Raven runs wide. Julian back down the inside. There's almost contact there. We have to back out and go very slow, but that's going to give me the run on Julian here as we go and follow the slipstream of Raven. But we are a little bit poor on straight line speed, as you can see, as into the penultimate corner here we misjudge our corner a little bit. We do manage to just about though slip down the inside of Julian into turn 10, and we get the traction down as we've got cars in the pit lane. And Smij, look at this, out of nowhere, capitalising on the fact there was a bit of slow moving cars. He goes down the inside, but on the latest of the late breakers, and we go around the outside of turn 1 in the middle of the 3, and we managed to hold on and defend the line beautifully into the first corner, and taking, you know, a big risk under braking there, braking as late as I did, but we did manage to hold on. And now you can see over lap 11 and 12, all the ultra soft runners would eventually come into the pit lane and get rid of their tyres because they were absolutely done at this point. And us on the softs had too much pace. As you can see, we're currently checking to see what kind of strategies people are doing at the minute, and we're all over the back of Raven now. Once again, we've caught up to him, and I'm starting to feel the confidence here to want to attack Raven as we jump up to P3. And I believe it's Serdai, the man that qualified on the super softs, currently in the lead here in the Mercedes, but even his super softs are starting to fade a little bit now as you see him run wide at turn 4, and myself, Raven and Smij on the softs, and also Cry6 a little bit further behind. We're starting to put the pressure on here, and as we pretty much approach the halfway point of this race, it's looking interesting now strategy wise, because there's lots of battles on track, and I would say Raven, myself and Smij have put ourselves somewhat into contention here for maybe a podium due to the pace we've had on this tyre. So it could be an interesting race here as Serdai, I think, pits in. There you go, and he's had enough of those super softs, and now that's going to give me the run on Raven. Raven will have DRS for this pit straight, I believe, but he won't have DRS for the next one leading up towards turn number 3, so I might have an opportunity here to get past the Haas. Here we go through turn 1, carrying the speed. Very nice run there, good exit. Raven a little bit shaky, and we are going to get the exit here. We are a little bit far back though. Can we do it up towards turn 3? Do we have enough? Raven onto the grass there. We are going to go down the inside, but we think better of it, and we just kind of tuck back in, and we're not going to commit to a rash move. You know, it's been a very good stint so far, and if I'm going to make the move, I need to commit to it properly and not take a risk. Meanwhile, Smij as well, we can't forget about him. He's looking very good behind us, and to his credit, to be fair, in my opinion, Smij gets stronger as the stint goes on. He seems to be very fast on worn tyres, so Smij is going to be a threat. And Smij actually going down the inside possibly here, but we just hold it around the outside and carry the speed, and that's going to buy Raven some time and a little bit of space on track, so I can't really attack him just yet. But Smij putting the pressure on here, and I'm in that kind of awkward position there where I'm trying to attack and defend at the same time here with both of these guys on the same tyre as myself, and all of this is allowing Cry6 behind to catch up a little bit as well, so this could become a 4-way scrap as we move on to lap 16 here. And once again, getting the run on Raven, this time no DRS for him. And that's the kind of nature of this track. It's such a DRS heavy circuit that it's just a constant DRS train. If you can't get a second clear, then you're not going to shake anybody off. And this time we got a good one on Raven here, racing up towards turn 3. Will we go for it this time? Under braking. Are we going to go for it? Yes, we do. We think better of it, and we let it go nice and late on the brakes. We give Raven the room on the outside, and to his credit, Raven picks up a fantastic bit of traction there, but we have DRS once again here. And look at this, Smeege trying to get in the action here as we briefly go 3 wide into turn number 4, but we just hold on to the inside. A little bit late on the brakes as I have run a little bit deep, but I managed to just about get it slowed down there, and no major contact made as Smeege actually gets past as well. So Smeege not letting me go, and he's following me all the way through here as we cut on to lap 19 and through turn 1 here. As you can see, we run a little bit wide, pick up an extension, and then my first penalty of the Grand Prix, and also it was a really bad exit, which is going to put Smeege right at the back of me here as we go towards turn 3. Really go for the lunge under braking. I don't think he will just yet. And we've got one more DRS straight to go here, and this was not my best corner. I was struggling for traction here compared to everybody else around me. And Smeege, you can see they're getting a good exit under Ferrari, and he's got the good run on me here as he goes to the outside. Will he get it under braking at turn 4? Very, very close here. We're going to hold the inside once again here, just about leaving enough room on the curb. I ran a little bit deep there by accident, but we just about left enough room, and Smeege actually tucks in behind and doesn't commit to the move into the left-hander, and we hold on to our lead for now. But on lap 20, Smeege once again with DRS is going to try and challenge me, and this time he's a lot closer as we race up towards turn number 3. We're running maximum engine power pretty much as we go into the hairpin. Can we hold him off? We're going to go late on the brakes on the inside here, but a fantastic overtake around the outside there from the Ferrari driver, and that's going to give him first place. And literally we get recommended on the radio now for the strategy to pit in this lap for obviously the super softs, which is exactly what we're going to do. But the question is, will Smeege, Raven and Krysix follow through? And the answer is yes. All 4 of us on the softs, we all pit in right now at the same lap, exact same position here. And it's all about a pit stop battle here. We got our pit stop entry slowed down beautifully. Smeege actually picked up a 5-second penalty there for speeding into the pit lane. So at the minute, with my 3-second time penalty, I think Raven's got a 3-second time penalty as well. We're looking good here in terms of penalties, and Smeege has got 2 more seconds added to his time. So as long as I can follow Smeege and stay close to him, his 2 seconds extra penalty should set him back behind me come the end of the race. So there's no need for me to rush into an overtake here. As we rejoin the circuit on the super softs, they're picking up a warning for cutting the white line. But now moving on towards the next lap here, the super softs up to temperature, and myself, Smeege and Raven all got to work, and we started pumping in the lap times here. Purple laps absolutely everywhere. We're currently P10, but those on the soft tyres who came in from the ultras were struggling already here, and also the pace that we had on the super softs was ridiculous. Some idiot there coming into the pit lane in the Force India, which actually puts Smeege on the back foot slightly here, and we've now got, I believe, Lemon in front of Smeege in the Renault as the next car to overtake. But we had so much more pace. These tyres were so quick, and we was really becoming aggressive in this part of the race and started to challenge these guys on the warm soft tyres, and Smeege making the move there very easily on Lemon. Meanwhile, Lemon though comes back across and goes defensive as we go up towards turn number 3 here. We're going to try and go around the outside of the Renault here. Can we pull it off? Yes, we do. Very nice move there with the traction and also with the DRS. We get the job done on the exit, and that's a nice little move on the Renault driver as we now chase after Smeege and trying to lose contact with him as he tries to shake me off. As we now move on towards lap 26, we've got more battles in the midfield here as Smeege goes down the inside of Serdai in the Mercedes, the man who started on the super softs. So Serdai also on strategy could be a wild card, and because of that incident there, Smeege got boxed in and I went down the inside here at turn up, but I compromised my line a bit, and it was a very aggressive move, and actually I got put under investigation for that. Luckily nothing came from it, but I do apologise to Smeege. I was a bit too aggressive and I actually shoved him off the track in fairness. So I was lucky to escape with nothing from that incident, to be honest with you, because that could have been a lot, quite a bit different. Anyway, back to the action though. We're now behind Serdai in the Mercedes here, and we overtook Smeege as well. So the good news is that we've made that move now, and we're going to try and go around the outside of Serdai into turn 3. A little bit of contact there from behind somewhere, but we are going to pull it off on the power. DRS wide open here. Serdai has DRS as well, but we're going to have just about enough legs on the straight to get the move as we now go into the brakes, and we go very late on the brakes here into turn 4, and we get the car slowed down and make the move around the outside, and we are now P6 in this race, and we're making very swift moves here. You can see on the minimap how far people are in front of us. It's not that bad actually. and the podium could be on the cards here due to penalties to other people elsewhere. So let's keep pushing here and try and make these moves happen. We're now behind i7 Swiss, the man that started on pole position, not having the best race considering where he started, but now you can see the grip difference I have through these fast corners here. We really close up to the Haas, and we're going to get a good run out the final corner here, out of turn 10, onto the pit straight, and we're going to get the run on the Haas. Do we come into turn 1? It doesn't look like it. Swiss does have DRS from the car in front of THM, so we're not going to commit to anything just yet, but we get a great run out of turn 1 this time. Fantastic traction, and we've got the run on the Haas driver here as we're going to carry the momentum up the hill, and now towards turn number 3 we're going to go down the inside on the brakes. Yes, we do. Very late. Swiss locked up a little bit there, but we're just going to give him the room on the outside. We are going to get it slowed down just about for the hairpin, and we make the move on the Frenchman, and we are passed up into P5, and now we're behind THM in the Ferrari here. And meanwhile, Smeech is actually not making the moves as fast as I am, so this is giving me a chance now to break away and open up a gap to those on the same strategy as me. But then, as you can see through turn 1, running wide, they're picking up another extension on lap 29, and we're trying to put the pressure on THM here as we now go up the hill towards turn number 3. Can we get it on the brakes? It's very far back, but we are going to go for it and commit to the move. THM leaving me the room, and I leave him some room on the outside. We are side by side though on traction as we exit the corner, and I have the DRS, therefore I'm going to just about get the edge of the speed, and we're going to get in front in towards turn 4 and make the overtake count. But we lose the back end mid-corner, we just catch it. A good old drift there for good measure. But now lap 35, you can see we pick up another penalty at 6 seconds now to our name, which is really annoying because it's ultimately going to ruin the end of the race, as you'll see in a moment's time in terms of the result, as we push on towards that podium behind Zerd here. Lap 35 though, we get that sausage curb like we saw on lap 1, and that's going to put me in the back foot here because Smeech is having a bit of a late race push on the worn tyres. Like I said before, he's quicker on the worn tyres than I am, and he's pushing on here and he's trying to catch me up, and that mistake at the final corner has given him DRS on this entire straight, and we can't do nothing about it. I'm very low for fuel and I'm very low for ERS, so there's not much I can do to respond in terms of straight line speed. And then into turn 3 we don't really get the best run as we lose the back end mid corner there and get a terrible exit with some wheel spin, and Smeech is all over the back of me here on the last lap of the Grand Prix. We're going to have to go defensive a little bit here just to make sure, because otherwise I'm exposed to a dive bomb. We run deep, lock up the right front, and we almost take Smeech with us there, but we just about defend the position and we hold on to P4. But now can we catch up to Zerd in the closing stages? I believe he has 6 seconds of time penalties to his name as well, so all we've got to do is overtake him on track and we can get a podium this race. And you can see Zerd visibly struggling here in the Williams as we go towards the final couple of corners, trying to push the engine mode as much as we can through turn 9, and then towards turn number 10 we just lose the back end, but we still are pushing here, but unfortunately it's not enough. One more lap and we could have had Zerd, but across the line, and it is P3 momentarily as we took the podium because Martin G had lots of penalties. But the 6 seconds that we had pushes us back to P5. You can see in the final race results, my teammate Colo from P4 on the grid wins the race, and it makes it 4 out of 4 for the McLaren team in this season. 3 for him, 1 for me. He had a lot of penalties as well, and Zerd got P2 there, as you can see with the penalties. And then Krysix was the surprise podium. He pretty much was behind myself, Smeech and Raven that entire race, but because he had no penalties and kept it clean, he jumped onto the podium and he started from P16. So Krysix, the driver of the day, MVP, really, really good performance from him, and fair play to Krysix there for getting the podium. And then Smeech got P4 because he had obviously 1 second worth of penalties less than me because he got his from speeding into the pit lane. I got both of mine from extending on track. So Smeech there with the penalties, managing to re-overtake me for P4. And then we got Serdai P6 in the Mercedes. Martin G, he actually finished second on track, but he had so many penalties that he finished all the way down in P7. So in hindsight, it's a little bit annoying because if I hadn't got that penalty on lap 35, it would have been a different story, you know, because we could have finished on the podium that race because we was ahead of Krysix, and we had enough of a gap to Krysix that if we didn't get that second penalty, it would have been enough for P3. So a real shame there, and it just wasn't to be. But nonetheless, you can see we also got THM there in the Ferrari, then we got Swiss in P9, and then actually Raven finishing the top 10, scoring 1 final point there. But all in all, a very crazy race here at Austria, guys, and the penalties in the end kind of shifting the order a little bit, but a very, very insane race. The strategy opted options, and the contra strategy from myself, Smeege, Raven and Crysis making this race incredible, especially in that second stint, and it was absolute chaos all the way through. There'll be a link to the full broadcast down below in the description, guys, if you want to go check it out for yourselves. But now let's move into the championship standings, and you can see that Koldo, my teammate, leads the way. He's looking pretty dominant out front. Smeege is in P2, and Julian third place, THM P4, and we are P5. And to say we missed the race, I'm not doing too badly. You know, we didn't score any points in Bahrain either, so pretty much we've only scored points in 2 out of the 4 races. So in hindsight, you know, I think Bahrain, if I just had 1 or 2 less penalties, it could have been easily a podium. And also, if I turn up at China was actually one of my better tracks, so I could have actually, I think, scored some decent points there. But nonetheless, it is P5 for us, and we go again in the next race in Silverstone, which is actually where I won the race last year in F3, but I got demoted to P2 due to penalties. So that's something I'm going to be hoping to avoid this season in F2. Then we've got Lemon P6, Martin G7th, Zerd in 8th, Crysis P9, and Marion rounding out the top 10 there in the Drivers' Championship. Guys, that is going to be it for this video and this race in AOR for the Austrian Grand Prix. If you guys did enjoy it, drop a like and subscribe if you are new, because I'm losing my voice and I greatly appreciate it. If you are new, also turn on notifications, guys, to not miss a single video from me, and finally check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next episode very soon, but until then, it's goodbye from me.